Move on to react to Manchester United sacking Erik Ten Hag. Um, Sacking Erik Ten Hag after United lost to West Ham this past Sunday with a late goal from Somerville to make it 1-0. Casemiro equalizing in the 81st minute. Then the winning goal came from Jared Bowen. Dramatic win with that penalty in that last moment, in which there were highly not high controversial penalty, um, but but the what happened is West Ham, they got the victory, and Erik Ten Hag sacked this morning. They waited a little bit. They gave themselves 24 hours. No, they didn't give themselves 24 hours. They sacked them the following morning. But look, finally, it's been a long time coming. I thought the funny thing is, I thought when Erik Ten Hag's it turned around, like not turned, but the turning point, really the big turning point. There was a lot of turning points, but the big turning point, you got to go back to that Coventry. It was actually a win, but it was a disgusting and embarrassing win against Coventry in that FA Cup semi-final. But they survived, and then they eventually won the FA Cup final against City, which probably helped them save his job. Then this season after they did a whole evaluation in the summer to even decide whether he was good enough to be retained. They've had a poor start to their campaign. They're sitting 14th in the Premier League after 9 games with 3 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses, only 11 points through 9 games. Yeah, it was coming and it should have came earlier, but it's here now. And yeah, Erik Ten Hag, he is sacked, and to recap his career at United. That first season, I have to say, that first season, they were good that season. That first season, there was hope, at least. There was hope. They finished second place. They won an EFL Cup for the first time, or they won a trophy for the first time in, I believe it was 6 years, a ridiculous trophy drought, something of that sort. Don't quote me on that. They won a trophy for the first time. They finished second place in the Premier League. They played some good football in certain periods. He had a lot to deal with, and I thought he dealt with a lot of it in a pretty good way, in a firm way, with the Cristiano Ronaldo situation, which always is a difficult situation to deal with if you're a new manager. And what they did that season, I thought they were pretty good, and there was a hope. There was hope. A lot of Manchester United fans believed. They were really, really high on Erik Ten Hag. Then the following year, they had a lot of injuries, but just the performance levels was not good enough game in, game out. No sort of consistency. The results was horrible as well. Some signings that we expected to take that next level now this season. Players that came in for a lot of money that Erik Ten Hag wanted, like Anthony Onana, players of that sort, did not fill the bill, did not perform to a level that was expected of them. They finished 8th in the Premier League that season. They also got eliminated in the Champions League group stages. It was horrible. They did go on though, and it saved his job essentially. They won the FA Cup final, as I was saying, against City that season. But it put him in a position that he was coming in already under pressure, and he has cracked under pressure. There's just not been good enough so far this season. He gets sacked. But to recap, he did have that good season, that opening season where they finished second place. He did win 2 trophies in his managerial career at United, which is the most that any manager has won since Jose Mourinho did back in 2016 when he won when he did the double, the FA Cup or the AFL Cup and the Europa League. So there is that aspect to it, Erik Ten Hag. You probably have to say, despite how bad United have been, the past season and in a few months, I think he was a more successful manager than every other managers, in the period other than Jose Mourinho since um, Sir Alex Ferguson. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he had he had a season where he finished second, and he had that not magical, but defined his legendary moment, that PSG comeback. But he had a better tenure than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He won 2 trophies. Let's just put some respect there. Better tenure than Louis Van Gaal, David Moyes, But again, it's just not been good enough, and it was coming for a very, very long time, and you could almost tell that I think he probably knew. He probably knew, and because if you see the body language and when he's shaking Joel Lopetegui after the game, and just his body language, his facial expressions, and maybe it's just the frustration of the penalty and losing the game and the dramatic fashion and all that. But he really looked like a manager that knew something is coming, that he might be gone, and yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, it was a long time coming. But there has been rumors that Ruben Amorim, he's the leading candidate for the United job, and talks have already emerged, and that he's aware of the interest. They did appoint Ruud van Nistelrooy as the interim manager, and there was a lot whenever he was initially hired as the assistant manager, and even talks throughout that it's looking like he's poised to take over eventually somewhat throughout the season. He is on an interim basis, but it doesn't seem like United have any, it doesn't seem like United have any thoughts on what, letting it's like trying to see, what Van Nistelrooy can provide. It seems like United are very steadfast in their approach of Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim, by the way, there was sources that say Manchester City really would prefer him if Pep Guardiola has been announces that he's leaving, and maybe this also pushed United to make the move earlier so that they can go after, they can make this approach before City can, with City, with Guardiola not officially announcing that he's leaving City. Amorim, he's also been linked with Liverpool before Slots got the job. The 39-year-old, he has been in charge at Sporting Lisbon since 2022. He's won 2 Portuguese league titles, despite not having the resources provided that Porto and even Benfica have. So we'll see. When he was asked at the Sporting, during one of his press conferences, he says, "I was already expecting this question, and obviously I'm not going to talk about the future because otherwise I'll always have to comment. I'm very proud to be Sporting coach. That's all." Yeah, so uh, I think that would be a good fit. But at the end of the day, no matter what manager United hire, there's a clear issue at this club. And it starts from the top. And I've been saying it over and over again. And to think that a manager would just come in and fix it is just going to lead to mistakes. It's the definition of idiocy, doing the same thing over and over again. And that's what they've done since Sir Alex Ferguson, with Louis Van Gaal, David Moyes, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralf Ragnick even for a period, and now Erik Ten Hag. The manager isn't the issue every single time. At the end of the day, there's some real issues at the club that needs to be addressed.